Australia could still vote no on same-sex marriage, and whilst I hope it's unlikely, it's not out of the question. 2 reasons. Getting somebody to vote no and stick with the familiar status quo is a lot easier than trying to convince somebody to vote yes and change it. And the fact that most people support same-sex marriage doesn't mean they won't be swayed by clever advertising. In last year's ABC Vote Compass, whilst 56% of people polled supported same-sex marriage, only 44% strongly supported it, and that's not a majority. So let's talk strategy. The No campaign seems to be using a strategy from a successful anti-same-sex marriage campaign from California in 2008. At the time, the courts had just legalised same-sex marriage, but a bill to make it illegal again was going to be put to the people. Initially, only 38% of the population didn't support same-sex marriage, but PR mastermind Frank Schubert signed onto the campaign, and he turned that 38% into a 52% majority, and he made same-sex marriage illegal for California. Schubert's company put a lot of effort into working out how the population thinks about same-sex marriage and how they might change their position. How would you get the most ardent supporter of same-sex marriage to vote against it? And their findings? Don't make it about marriage. Yeah, I know, it's bizarre, but let me explain using the context of this plebiscite. With no legislation to vote on in this plebiscite, it really comes down to a simple question. What's more important when 2 people get married? That they love each other or that they're different genders? People choose to get married because they love each other, not because they recognise that they're 2 different genders. A loving same-sex relationship encapsulates the meaning of marriage more than a guy and a girl with a shared kitchen and mutual loathing for each other. The guy and the girl are the ones that can get the marriage certificate. So it's pretty clear the No campaign can't win that argument and they need to reframe that conversation. And that's exactly what Frank Schubert's research found. In an article about his win, he writes, "We strongly believed that a campaign in favour of traditional marriage would not be enough to prevail. We needed to convince voters that gay marriage was not simply live and let live, that there would be consequences if gay marriage were to be permanently legalised." A few paragraphs later, he says, "We settled on 3 broad areas where these consequences were most likely to occur. In the area of religious freedom, in the area of individual freedom of expression, and how this new fundamental right would be inculcated into young children through public schools." Sound familiar? This is literally exactly what the No campaign here is running on. They're not even trying to be subtle about it. It's pretty much copied and pasted onto every No campaign running at the moment. It's freakishly coordinated. If the No campaign can make voters feel like they'll be trapped into a world they don't want if they vote yes, the No campaign will win. Somebody who is scared and sees the walls closing in around them will do anything to stop that from happening. So they'll go ahead and campaign on this, and the No campaign only needs 1 single seed of doubt to make a voter vote no. So the Yes campaign has to disprove every single one of these potential boogeyman futures the No campaign is throwing out. The No campaign doesn't need to prove it will happen, the Yes campaign has to prove it won't. And whilst the Yes campaign is debunking all this and fighting fires, they're reminding everybody of the No campaign's talking points. And that just pushes the conversation further away from marriage. This is how same-sex marriage was made illegal in California in 2008. It's a simple but very effective strategy that very well could work in Australia. Luckily, whilst the Yes campaign disagrees fully with the idea of the plebiscite, they'll be coming out strongly. In PR, you can't really refuse to accept a situation, no matter how stupid or ridiculous or misinformed it may be. Public opinion is a fickle beast, and you can't change somebody's mind by insulting them. Assuming that people are just going to vote yes is insulting everybody within a few steps of the fence, and those people are the ones you need to convince. The No campaign is already trying to sway those voters, and they're having a fair crack at reframing the conversation. It's pretty straightforward to combat this. All the Yes campaign needs to do is put forward their argument as if nobody has heard it before, making no assumptions about people's positions. Explain why same-sex couples want to get married. Keep the conversation about marriage and what it means for the 2 participating individuals and their families. Or whatever your research finds. But emotionally compelling stories of love and empathy and connectedness, combined with a willingness to openly discuss the concerns of unsure voters, will be able to neutralise the fear-based rhetoric of the No campaign. This is how the Yes vote won in Ireland's referendum. It's how Australia can return a successful Yes campaign for this plebiscite. And if the postal plebiscite is canned by the High Court, then the Yes campaign will have helped make the world a better place. And that works for me. Obviously, I'm not the first person to notice that the No campaign is nicking their strategy from the US, so an article about that is in the description, as well as an article about the Ireland referendum and how the Yes vote won there. I might do a video about that, sort of in-depth, later, I'm not sure, but articles in the description, as well as any other articles I found that were relevant, and a link to the Vote Compass stats that the ABC found. Other than that, thanks for watching, and I'll make another video soon, I think. Yeah? No, I will. It's okay. I just don't know how to end these, so I'm just going to walk away now.